Good afternoon and welcome to this sixth in a series of webinars delivered by Visit Scotland in conjunction with Business Gateway's Digital Boost programme and part of a recovery package of webinars aimed at supporting tourism businesses as they look to reopen when feasible. Today we'll be looking at the subject of enhancing your social media and what you do in social media platforms, and I'm delighted to say we're joined by Stephen Whitelaw from Targeting Innovation. Hello, Stephen.
Good morning. Good afternoon, rather.
Just a quick reminder before we begin that all attendees, you're all in microphone webcam off mode, which means that you can't ask verbal questions, but you can ask written questions. If you look at your GoToWebinar control panel, you'll see a little questions option, and you can post any questions to Stephen or I during the course of the presentation in that little box, and we'll see them, and we'll have 15 minutes at the end, there or thereabouts, to answer any questions that you pose to us. We'll also be distributing a link to a PDF version of Stephen's presentation at the end of the webinar. As well as asking for your feedback via a link to a feedback page on Business Gateway's website, and I'll send that out later on via the messaging function on GoToWebinar. So as I say, any queries about enhancing your social media profiles or general questions related to social media, please ask them via the questions tab in the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll spend 10 to 15 minutes at the end going over those questions. Another quick bit of background, little screenshot here of the DigitalBoost homepage. DigitalBoost programme delivers free services, including a reminder that it's up to 21 hours of one-to-one specialist digital support. That's subject to your application being authorised by a Business Gateway advisor, and you can apply either online or by calling your local Business Gateway office. The contacts are on the website bgateway.com/digitalboost, as you see at the bottom of the screen there. All webinars at the moment and workshops are online. Just book your place on the website, and online guides to 21 digital topics and video tutorials to further 9 digital topics can also be found on that bgateway.com/digitalboost website. So without further ado, I'll now pass things over to Stephen Whitelaw, who's here representing Targeting Innovation today, and he's going to lead today's session. So Stephen, I'll just make sure that I'm allowing you to share your screen. I'll pass things over to you. There we go, that should be you now. And I'll switch my webcam off and your webcam off as well. Take it away.
Good, thank you very much, Andrew. That's wonderful. Thank you for attending this afternoon. Lots of material to get through. This is a kind of overview of what we're going to try and achieve. First of all, we're going to look at online digital landscape, and then onto content marketing. And then we're going to go through in a bit of detail the various platforms. We've got some live demos as well and some videos to show. We'll look at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, YouTube, and TikTok if we have time. And we'll talk about social media marketing, although tomorrow there's another webinar Andrew will talk about at the end. He'll give you all the webinars coming up. And there's a bit more detail about reputation marketing, but we will look at social media marketing and, of course, measuring things. I think just before we start, it would be a good idea to take a poll. Andrew's going to take a poll, and a couple of polls here, and we'll be able to see the results immediately, I hope. You're all able to vote. So I'm going to pass you over to Andrew just now, just before we start. And we'll take a poll.
Thanks, Stephen. Here's the first of the polls for today. You can tick all of the options that apply to your business. Which of the following social media platforms do you currently use for your business? Tick all those that apply.
Hope everybody's seen that. I'm not seeing that at the moment. Yeah. I'm obviously not voting, so everybody can see that.
I'll give you now a few seconds to vote. Okay, do you see those responses? Do you see, sorry, the results, Stephen?
I don't, unfortunately, no. I'm not able to see them.
That's okay. We've got 96% of the businesses that are attending use Facebook, 81% use Instagram, 53% use Twitter, 14% use Pinterest, and 30% use YouTube.
What was the percentage on Pinterest?
Pinterest was 14%, 14%.
Okay.
14%.
Okay.
And then the second series of questions, same question as last time. Oh, sorry, I've done the wrong poll there. Close that. Stephen, I think that's us done. The other poll doesn't seem to be.
Oh, that's okay. They were less important platforms, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, it doesn't seem to be
okay.
working properly. So
that's okay. Okay, I guess I've got control back again. So thank you. As I unfortunately didn't see the figures, but surprise, Facebook is the most important one, and that's not unexpected. Followed by Instagram, again the second largest social media platform in the world. Twitter, slightly over half of you using Twitter in business, and Pinterest was rather low. So just a kind of overview. We'll come back to these because when we look at the platforms, this is reasonably up-to-date statistics of where we are. The 7.9 billion people living on the planet just now. And quite excitingly, more than half of them are online. So a big addressable market. They're not obviously all travelers and tourists, but they all have access to the internet and the web. They're online, trading online, living online. So it's a very big market. And the next billion to come online are very, very interesting. A lot of them are unbanked and they don't have addresses, and it's a different market. All the technology is there to cope with that. People are spending voluminous amounts of time online. So this is the average amount of time that a human being spends online daily. In countries like the Philippines, it's about 9 hours. These statistics come from We Are Social. You might want to download that PDF. It's a free PDF with all the latest trends and latest stuff on digital, e-commerce, social. Very, very interesting stats. So we've just taken screenshots from there. But again, the average person spending most of their living day online. This is a reasonably up-to-date stat again, but this has gone down dramatically, obviously, because of COVID. I think this was at 1.3 trillion last year was the figure. So it's pretty much half. But it's still the second largest spend on the internet just now is travel, tourism, travel, accommodation, and visitor attractions is still half. But it was at 1.2 or 1.3 trillion last year. So it's just behind fashion and beauty. But people are buying everything online. People said, well, people will never buy this online. They'll never buy everything, products, services can be consumed online. And the figure is even growing. I want to talk just before I go into the e-commerce about the visitor journey. Visitor here is kind of the visitor, I said in the tourist, but also the visitor to your website. So the horrible word traffic. But people find your website normally through Google. It's a big search engine. It's number one in every country in the world except China and Russia and South Korea, where it's Baidu, Yandex, and Naver. But apart from that, Google's number one in every country. You get discovered. So discovery is very important in life, and there is 2 other webinars coming up dedicated to discovery that Janine's doing. So looking forward to them. They'll be hopefully very useful because if you're not found, you don't have a business. You don't have reservations. You don't have anything. You need to be found. Discovery is everything, and then you need to be remembered. But so, Janine, we're talking about organic search, natural search, SEO. Of course, you can buy attention. You can pay for ads. Nothing wrong with that as long as you're measuring it. But somebody's found your website, found your presence online. This is non-linear. It's a kind of funny curve. And this is the conversion. This is someone becoming a customer, paying for something, or arriving at your attraction. But who knows, they become a customer. They typically pay for things. So that might be an hour, a week, a month, 3 months. So they've just discovered your website. They don't just suddenly book up and buy. They will probably, good idea to get them to subscribe to your YouTube channel, like you on Facebook, interact with you socially. They will definitely look for validation, testimonials, reviews. Absolutely, definitely. You cannot avoid that. You can't just Johnny from Essex likes it. We know you made it up. It has to be some sort of independent review system, almost certainly TripAdvisor. We'll talk tomorrow more about reputation and reviews. And then again, they're maybe weeks away from converting. So a good idea to keep in touch with them, maybe get them to sign up for a newsletter or something. and then hopefully they become a customer. So that's the kind of journey that people come on. So the key takeaway is it's non-linear and it isn't instant. After discovery, it isn't instant to become customers. You've probably seen this before. It's a graphic from HubSpot. So at the top is visitors to your website traffic, and hopefully they're humans. Sometimes it's bots and things, and they've got there because, well, you've got good SEO, you've got a blog, done some social media, they found you. But the truth is 90% of people that come to your website don't do what you want them to do. Hopefully you know what you want them to do, the golden path through your website, but they don't do that. And even people that put things in baskets and carts and they're intending and booking, intending and buying, they abandon. 60-70% of people abandon, even though they've put something in a cart. There's lots of abandonment reasons, but so at the bottom, this is your spreadsheet, your database, your CRM. These are customers, and you can see at the top, it's the traditional sales funnel, and that's just the way things are. But you need to run software, abandonment software. If they arrive at a page, a landing page, it better be a beautiful page, it better be fast, it better be optimized, it better have a call to action, it better be nice, because people expect gorgeous on the website. Just before we go into the platforms, it's a good idea to have a plan, a strategy. What are you trying to achieve? What are you doing here? And who are the audience? And we'll talk about that in quite depth. Who are your customers? And where are they online? Who are my customers? Where do they hang out? How do I engage with them? There's sort of 3 questions. And you're creating content for that. Can you sustain that? Because if it's a video content, and it's taking you days to produce this little video clip, are you going to be able to produce that every week or every month? Do you have the energy and the time and the resources to do it? And of course, you may have a wider marketing strategy. If you're a large organization, you may have, plans for TV or radio or news or offline, perhaps, and merge the two. And of course, be measuring things. So a lot of people say, what platform should I use? There's so many, there's hundreds, literally. But, there's 5 or 6 or 7, and the ones Andrew went through in the polls are the main ones: the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, the Pinterest, the Twitter. And Google My Business is important. It's not a social media platform as such. There's no interaction with the likes, comments, shares. But again, defining what you're trying to achieve, the goals, is very important. And remember, it's not your website, it's for your customers. And the platforms are for your customers. So you really need to do the persona analysis, which we're going to come on to find out who they are and where they hang out. But finding where your audience are is non-trivial, and it might require a bit of research. But the research could be look at a competitor site, for example, or ask some of your existing customers what platforms you use. Telephone calls, SurveyMonkey, quite basic stuff. There is a couple of sites, and there's one, and I'll try and put it in the chat, called Social Animal, and BuzzSumo as well. But Social Animal will tell you what content's trending. So if you're a museum and you think, what platform should we be on? Pinterest? Should we be on TikTok? Well, you can find out if you type in museum to Social Animal, you'll find out other content from other museums, and you'll find they're all using whatever they're using, Pinterest or TikTok or YouTube, or they're not using video. So that's one way to find out. There's another site called influence.io. You can find influencers, bloggers, and things. You can also find out what your competitors are spending money on. So I think I may have this on a screen here, so hopefully this is going to work. Built into Facebook is something called the ad library. So if you go to facebook.com/ads/library, and there's the British Museum. Let's see what they're spending on ads. What ads? They're buying attention. Now, obviously, because of the coronavirus, there are no hotels open. The world has changed, and hopefully it will come back as soon as possible. But I've typed into Facebook ads. It's public information on Facebook. I can find out my local museum that I've got, what these guys are. They're buying attention. What platforms? Facebook and Instagram. And it's obviously this museum, like the National Museums, is a free museum to enter, but exhibitions, they're promoting exhibitions. So hey, maybe we should be doing that. Maybe we should be on Facebook and Instagram. Seems to be the 2 platforms that they're on, and I can find out how much they're spending month on month and how successful. So that's quite a useful piece of, yes, it's competitor research. But if you're wondering what platforms your competitors use, what ones you should use, but you need to be able to resource this, and we'll talk about content plan as well. So it's a good idea to have a content calendar. Visit Scotland is an amazing website. The more and more you look at it, the more you realise the amount of information in there. A crazy amount of information. I'm talking here about personas. So customers spend money, they stay with you, they visit, and influencers influence them. So it might be that the teenagers, you're not on all these young platforms, but the teenagers who can influence where the parents come traveling are on other platforms. So it's not just the customers are critically important to buy things, but Visit Scotland has broken them down, and they've just thrown 3 categories here: so customer groups, adventure seekers, curious travellers. It tells you how many there are, what age group they are, what they're looking for. Fun-loving culturalists seeking out relaxing holidays. They're not into adventure. And it's food and drink. They want to enjoy food and drink and cultural stuff. And you say, well, we're a cultural place. Maybe we should have a cafe as well. So, this is basically doing personas. This is what it looks like. You will have lots of different customers. At the moment, there's none, and that's tragic. But they will come back, and it may be staycation initially, and it may be a local, and eventually coming back all the international tourists. But you sort of close your eyes in a dark room, and we've got 3 types of tourists. Just pretend was lady Ellie, young girl. Nick, he's quite different, and Jennifer, she's different also. Nick, he says, I want to travel to a destination and discover what I do once I'm there. Of course, that sounds so random, but lots of people do that. They're in destination, and that's why things like Google My Business and local search is so important. It's restaurants near me. They haven't planned it. Whereas Jennifer, she's a busy mother and wife, but she wants a detailed vacation, a plan, right? And it's to a budget as well. She's got a family. She wants to know where she can take photos. She wants it all organised before. There's nothing wrong with that. That's very, very common. But you have to know, are my customers more like Nick, or are they more like Jennifer, or is it just random? You will have different customers. You might have cruise tourists that come in for a half an hour or something from a cruise ship, but you need to know that. So this is just a bit of fun, and we're not doing interaction here, but just as an example, so profiling, if you like. So here's Johnny Walker. So who would, if you look at their social media platform, all of their messaging is women buy the product, but it's all quite male oriented. And is it all young teenagers? Nope, but yes, 18, 19-year-olds buy that product. It's older men they're targeting with their messaging. So you might say, well, who are they? Well, I don't know, males over 50. They probably play golf, wild guess, and they probably read the magazine Bunkered. Well, Bunkered's on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube. And right, maybe we should be following, that platform. Maybe we should be following, Bunkered, because that's where my customers. That's the touch point. That's where they're influenced. That's where these guys are influenced. If you imagine this one, it's certainly, again, anybody, as long as you're not a minor, can consume this product and buy it. But it's for young people. They're not interested in golf. They don't drive beer. They're interested in fashion, and they're hanging out in very different places, and music and everything. And this one is the customer is the mum. She's paying for things, but the influencer is the kids. At the side under ingredients, it says 1 apple, 2 bananas, and no bears. And the kids go, Mummy, there's no bears. The kids are the influencer there. Here's 4, I guess, travel accommodation providers, Citizen M, Premier India. They're very different, and they know who their customers are. I worked with Citizen M in the early days, and anybody can stay there. They'll invite anybody. If you pay the money, you can stay there. But they know who they want to attract. Same with Premier Inn. If Premier Inn, does it have a golf course? No. It's organic gardens? No, anything. They have nothing. So what do you talk about? If you go to the website, the front page, you can actually even buy the bed. Right, they're obsessed. It actually says if you didn't have the best night's sleep of your life, there's no charge. Like, wow. And I remember years ago I was checking it in London, and the lady in front of me said, "Oh, I just for night's sleep, sir." And she said, "Madam, there's no charge." And she walked off, and I was next in line. I was going to do oh yeah, me too, but I didn't have the guts. So I just paid my £25 or whatever it was. I think it's a bit more expensive now. So you need to know. We figured out who our customers are, where they hang out, and how you engage with them. Once you've figured that out, who your customers are, and it sounds even more odd, you need to tell people, you say, oh, hello, and that might be through social media, it might be through advertising, but by the way, you're one of our customers, because they don't know. You've profiled them, they don't know. So here's Citizen M, kind of odd, and it's not for everybody. Citizen M, a collection of luxury, affordable luxury for the people. That sounds wonderful. By the people, we mean, this is them explaining who they want their customers to be. Those who cross continents like others, e.g., this includes, actually literally spelling out, the weekenders, the suits, Ashmaggots, the affairs, the explorers, the adventurers, the dreamers. Those, gee whiz, they've actually said on the homepage of Citizen M's website, if you want to have an affair, come to our hotel. That's what it says, because it's auto check-in. Oh, I didn't realise that. Nobody knows they're your customers. You have to reach out and tell them. And it may not be as blatant as that. It might be in advertising, it might be in posts and social media. But once you figure out who they are, so I can't check your homework. It's not like school. I suppose I could tomorrow. Some of you will be coming back to the second webinar. I do want you to Google customer persona, download. There's just so much videos and everything on it. And just, you've been in business for 1,000 years, that's fine. But it's still worth doing. Or you've just started up, still worth doing. I want to talk about content. We live in a very, very beautiful country, and there's no reason not to share amazing, beautiful content, assuming you've got the rights to share it. And Visit Scotland have got a huge library of Creative Commons and copyleft and free stuff. And you can search on Bing and Google for Creative Commons, which is free as well. This is a sort of famous Google slide from a very old slide, but it's still valid in how the different social media platforms, and when people were dreaming of going somewhere, that's in their brain. You don't know they're dreaming. As a business, you don't know there's someone in San Francisco dreaming of coming to Scotland. You do now, because they dream in Pinterest. They're putting boards up and they're opening up the boards. There's collaborative curation, and you can join in. You can say, hey, we've got lots of golf courses. You should come here. We've got whale watching or whatever it is. Tell them, where are you based at? We're in Murray or we're down. You know, they don't know. They have no idea what anything is. So dreaming, you can do it. I call it intervention, right? It's a bit of a made up. I did a talk in America many years ago, and someone actually thought that was the real world. There you
go. Stephen, we've lost your sound. A few minutes, folks, and we'll try and get Stephen back.
Audio.
That's you back now.
That was very odd. Did you lose much there? Where did you lose me? Apologies.
We lost you just after your intervention chat.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, social media, apologies about that. Sorry, thanks for letting me know, Andrew. Yeah, the social media is done through everything. After you've booked, it says you want to tell your friends on Facebook and share it. When you're in destination, of course, there's no concept of coming home to share the Kodak snaps. You're telling people you're in this cafe and you're in this museum and you're in this destination. So the sharing is all the way through on the social media platforms. The different content at different times in the journey sharing. So you people who've already been to your destination or been to your visitor attraction, it's different content that you're going to try and share with them. It's maybe not such inspirational content. They know, they're aware, the brand aware, being there. So you may be doing different content for them. Some people say a picture's worth 1,000 words, my goodness. But infographics, which are just graphics with data on them, I could send you a spreadsheet, but you're not even going to open it. But infographics are amazing, and there's so many free infographics. Pinterest is an infographics wonderland if you want infographics to share. And on Pinterest, you can repin. Remember, the no copyright issues there. The crime in copyright isn't viewing or possessing, it's copying. And if you're retweeting or you're repinning, you're not copying, you're just sharing something that's there. So infographics, there's lots of research done in it. Big, long, thin ones that much more likes, comments, shares, and interactions than other ones. I was quite sad. I actually counted all the words. There is 1,000 words here. Even if you're at home and you're really, really bored, you won't count it. But it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what language you speak. You know that that's this little mallard duckling taking his first jump. Or, it's just, you're all clever people. You run businesses. If you look inside your brains, lots of data. Most of it's come through the visual cortex. The visual imagery is critically important. So as much Google doesn't see it as such, so any images that you're sharing on your website should be tagged, alt tagged for visual impairment and things, especially if people can't see them. But don't have little blurry, horrible images on your website. No one wants to stay there or visit there. Just beautifully high quality images. I think in the SEO webinar, they'll probably talk about trade-off on your website. You're okay in social media to put big high-res images, but on your website, you have to be careful. There is a trade-off with the size of an image. You don't want 5 megabyte images on a website. You have to be very, very careful. If you have created some content on a platform, a social media platform, and it goes viral, whatever that means, it's very successful, it gets lots of engagement, and you think, gosh, that was wonderful. I'd like to get more bangs for bucks. I want to share that. I want to just spread it about. It was so successful. What do I do? Well, say, for example, it was something you posted and it was really successful. You could say it was a blog on your website, even. It doesn't matter what it is, but you want to repurpose that content, it's called. You could put it into a mail shot and a newsletter. Google can say you can't just splash it all over your website and post it on LinkedIn because Google sees duplicate content and it gets upset. Google hates duplicate content. So what you can do, chuck it in a newsletter. If you're doing a newsletter once a month, you send it out. You can put that award-winning content was really just verbatim because Google can't see inside your emails, or a case study somewhere Google can't see that, or maybe a podcast on iTunes, or podcasting is so popular now, or maybe just read it out. Read out the content on a vlog, a video blog on YouTube. Google won't see it as duplicate content. If you translate the content using native translation, Google will not punish you for that. It knows, it says, I know it's duplicate content, but you know what? I'm not going to punish you for translating that to French. So don't worry about, is duplicate content punishable for language translation? It's not. It said earlier on, it's a good idea to have a marketing calendar because it doesn't have to be strict, but at least you know what's coming up and what's happening. In the chat, there is a marketing calendar, and you should be able to download that just now if you wanted. It's a sample marketing calendar. It's under handouts. In the GoToWebinar control panel, there's dashboards and polls and questions, and there's a little one called handouts. So you should be able to see that. It kind of looks like this. It's a sample content calendar. So just to give you an idea, just, this is a very, very basic one. It's just the days of the week and the month down here, January the 1st, well, that's New Year. What are you going to do in New Year? I don't know. Well, we're going to do a wee website entry or do a blog entry. All right, good. And what's next? Burns Night, I think. Chinese New Year's lunar kind of floats around, but this year, you know the date. Burns Night is the 25th. And we're going to do a Facebook post and a tweet, just as an idea. And Valentine's Day, if that's important. Midterm break may be important for staycation, local people. St. Patrick's Day is in 2 days' time, so hopefully you've got some content ready for that. That's on the 17th, so it's pretty soon. And if you didn't know that, and maybe it's not important to St. Patrick's Day, maybe it's not, maybe it is. But even if it isn't, just happy St. Patrick's Day, that's enough. Or you might want to run a competition or something, a contest. So it's really important to have a calendar just as a guide. You don't have to stick to it, but sometimes if you're tongue-tied and you don't know what to say and you're not sure, so you should be able to download that little calendar there. I hope it's in the control panel. Google Trends is an amazing tool. This tool is probably worth demoing. It's probably the most powerful tool that Google have ever unleashed on all of us. It essentially allows you to search what other people are searching for. It sounds terrifying. It's like, gosh, so voyeurism, yeah, maybe. I've typed in whiskey. I've done 3 sort of spellings, the British and Irish, and you can see here there's a spike every Christmas, probably consumption or people buying. Maybe it's gifts. It doesn't say, it just says people type this in. So if I went to Google Trends just now, did a quick demo here. I could type in, the really powerful thing about this is, where is the demand for what I do? Where are people searching for? If I typed in holidays in Scotland, because I've got a little bed and breakfast or a little inn or accommodation, summer holidays in Scotland, what country are people so this is, I've done USA, so forget, just let's do worldwide, not the last 12 months, say just the last 5 years or the last year. And you'll see down, sometimes it's not working. So forget St. Helena, just pretend that doesn't exist, it's a mistake, but UK is the #1 country where people type holidays in Scotland in the world. If I drill in, it will tell me where. Again, it's a bit slow, but it's actually us, it's Scotland, it's staycation, so it's really local. Well, there it is there, Scotland. And I could say where, it's probably population centres, not quite central belt, but almost, it's kind of expected where. That's where people in Google are typing in holidays in Scotland. So UK is the #1, full ban, that's expected, but actually America's number 4 or 5 according to VisitScotland data. So this data is rubbish. Actually, this data is perfect. So who's wrong? Nobody's wrong. So where are the Americans? They come in their droves. America's a different country with different people with a different language, and they certainly don't come on holidays. They come on vacations. And if I put vacation in there, you would say America's probably the only country in the world. Let's just see if that works. So I've asked the wrong question. And the French, by the way, they're French people, not the the expats. The French go to google.fr and they type French. So vacations, wow, they do come, and that's the only country that would appear in the world that use that. So make sure you're asking the right question in Google Trends. You can go horribly wrong by asking the wrong question, but it's an immensely powerful tool. Where is there seasonality, and where is the demand? And it'll be different in different countries. You can also do keyword research there as well. This is another wonderful tool called Answer the Public. And essentially, somebody's analysed every question written of Google. I've got a little gin distillery, we've got a little tour, and we've got a little shop. We're a small visitor attraction. So I should be blogging, and as you'll find out in SEO, if you can't attend the SEO webinar, the big thing is blogging is what SEO is: content, fresh, relevant, unique content. A blog, that's it. There's loads of other geeky stuff, but that's the killer. So this is all the questions ever asked of gin. Can you freeze gin? My goodness, I have no idea. No, but if you're a distillery, people are asking, can you freeze gin? If you write a blog called Can You Freeze Gin, you'll be fine. Okay, that's that simple on your website, or share that content on social. It's really, really important. There's another one called Socrates Answers. Socrates Answers, that's also another site, an amazing site that talks about that. So choosing a social media platform. So just obviously you all voted that you're using Facebook, and I wonder why you're using Facebook. So it's not the ones that you like. I love TikTok. None of your customers on TikTok. What are you doing? I love it. It's really good. It's not nothing to do with you. It's your business. So, but of all the platforms, you probably don't have to say, are any of my customers on Facebook, because it's so massive and so big and so huge, and 2 point whatever it is billion active users. It's the largest social media platform in the world, bar none. That some of your customers are here, so you don't really have to ask that question. It is the other number one social media platform in the world, and it's, although if you're targeting young teenagers, remember, probably not customers, they're probably influencers in on Facebook. If you're producing content on Facebook for the kids that are going to come along on a family holiday, they're not on Facebook, they're not going to see it. They abandoned Facebook en masse 24 months ago, never to return. Look at it. They're on Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, and we'll talk about them. So that's the influencers. The customers are there, and pretty much every country in the world has Facebook, with the exception of China, where it's blocked. If you're looking at inbound Chinese tourists, you'll have to use another platform. And if you can see here, this will be this almost, maybe not quite as extreme as this, but on your website, if you look at your Google Analytics, most people will be consuming your website on tablets and mobiles. So here's, wow, 90, it's almost everybody is on a mobile platform on Facebook. That's important for your website, that it's responsive and looks nice and people aren't pinching. So I still, it's much rarer now, but I still, on my travels with travel companies, still see people using businesses under profiles. And one person I asked, it's a big-ish company, 50 employees, I said, it's actually against the terms of service. Oh, we don't mind. We want to control who likes our page. I said, it's not a page, it's a profile. You can't get analytics. It's just a disaster. So whatever, if you're doing this, just please don't do it. You don't need to control who likes your page. You use a page, not a profile. It's kind of obvious. Pages Manager was a great product, and if you're managing multiple pages, it's been replaced by the Facebook suite. So if you're managing a Facebook page or managing multiple Facebook pages, this is the platform to use. It just makes life easier and through the advertising as well. Got a little video for you here of Facebook shops. Hopefully this works. Hopefully the sound works. You don't lose this. There's no sound in these videos, so they're silent. You can see here, this is a Facebook shop. Somebody's going to buy something, adding it to the bag or cart, proceeding to checkout, and placing an order. Thanks for your order. So everything done inside Facebook. Quite interesting. So it's e-commerce and Facebook. Facebook shops and obviously Instagram shops upped the game recently massively. So you can sell on Facebook physical products, digital products. You can sell services. They've integrated with Shopify, integrated with e-commerce, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, and many others. So a stunning platform. They're also planning on rolling it out to Messenger and WhatsApp. So Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, a whole bunch of other things. But so they're going to do e-commerce and Messenger and WhatsApp as well. I'm quite excited. I've not really seen any good examples of it, but real-time shopping, which is just mind-blowing. So Instagram Live and Facebook Live shopping in there. So think QVC, if you like. Also Facebook's going to be using artificial intelligence. So photos, if someone takes a photo of your destination or something and somebody sees that, it can be tagged, and then they can buy products as well. So they'll be tagged. So it's very, very, very powerful, unlike the old Facebook shops. I don't know if anyone uses Facebook Live. I said you'll be able to sell on here soon, but it is still there. It's still massive. There's a lot of abuse goes on Facebook Live, but it's very hard to ignore. You've got a beautiful golf course. You want to show people around. People love to see behind the scenes. So if you're going to do Facebook Live, my advice is broadcast to self, change it to only me on Facebook, like you're doing a post, see what it looks like. Oh, that looks lovely, and then send it to public. But plan what you're going to talk about. Why are you doing this? What's the call to action? We're going to talk about the restaurant and the new seafood we've got, and then a call to action. See you again next month or next week at 3 p.m. GMT. know what you're going to do. I mean, it might be on a desktop, it might be outside, and you don't actually have to test internet speed anymore. Facebook does that for you. It just says, hey, forget going live, you don't have a bandwidth. And tell people, oh, we're going live. Your followers get a little message saying, Fred's gone live at the museum, he's live, and off you go. But before you do it yourself first, and you go, oh my goodness, the lighting's terrible, or the sound is terrible, or I look terrible, need to brush my hair. If you're very serious about Facebook Live, there's third-party tools you can buy. I believe there's free versions of them, but these two cost money. This particular one, called Lively, it basically tells everybody in the world that you're going live. Facebook just tells your followers. Right? This will say, tell people in a group, maybe a travel group, or it will SMS people, text all your fault. It's pretty massive, even outside of Facebook. Tweet everybody, all your Twitter followers. So if you're very serious about Facebook Live and you're doing a big broadcast, definitely worth doing. There's another tool called BeLive, which is great for split screen and interview modes. This sort of thing, interview modes, it's very good for it. You can actually do that without it, but it makes it so much nicer, like a little talk show. Facebook competitions, Americans call competitions contests. So if you look inside Facebook or Google or ask for help on Facebook competition rules, there isn't any, it's contests, you have to use contests. But here's a quick summary of the rules, because I've seen so many travel companies go wrong. You basically, in summary, you can ask somebody to write something. You can't ask them to share. Right? That's that sort of high level summary. There's more subtle things about copyright. But it's fine to say, would you like my post, but not to share it with all your friends. So here's a couple of examples. Signed shirt, simply like this post to enter. Oh, nice, I'd like that. Where's another one? That looks beautiful. Look at the hot tub. Wow, views to die for. Great. Free competition, our 5-bedroom German. All you have to do is like our page and share this post. So that's legal, that's illegal. They've asked you to share a post. Now, technically, Facebook can strike you off. You've broken the terms of service. But I've seen huge organizations asking you to like and share. And so just be careful. You can get warnings. And some of them are now doing 3 strikes and you're out. So Twitter are doing that as well for abuse. I talked about earlier, your platforms, but measuring things is critical. And all of the platforms have measurement tools. Twitter's got analytics. It's not very good, unfortunately. There's Follower Wonk is a great product, and Twitonomy. But Facebook has got superb insights. There's not really any third-party ones you need to do. So some people ask questions, not just on Facebook, how often should I post? And I do different products for different channels, and how do I measure things? So how often you post, there's no answers to all of this. It's different for everybody. But if you do have a content plan, it might help. And if you go into Facebook Insights, it actually tells you when your customers are online. Most of my customers are women, and you go, actually, no, they're not. They're men. I didn't know this. Well, this is your business. You should know. Well, they're probably young teenagers. Nope, they're all middle-aged. Gosh, these are the people that have liked your page, and they're all on from, looks like it's middle of the day or 6 p.m. I don't know, but it'll be different for all of us. If you go into Insights, it tells you what age your customers are, the males, the females, who's liked your page, and when they're online. And it's probably a good idea to post things when most of them are online. Not necessarily you can post when they're not online, but less chance of people seeing your content. So how often should you post? Again, there's no answers. Go into Insights, Facebook Insights, and obviously you've got a content plan, so you're going to post about something. If you try and post for every single event in the world, it's just nonsense. You're just going to lose relevance. Should you do different content for different channels? Well, in a dream world, yes. You've got a massive marketing department and thousands of people, fantastic. He's doing Pinterest, but you don't. So the reality is you have to say, Facebook, these are the 3 platforms my customers are on, the ones that are important to me. Obviously, Twitter's quite a different platform from Facebook, and YouTube is very visual video platform, and Twitter's very texty in general, though obviously you can attach content. But if you look at, it says here, YouTube, right, and Facebook, most videos are watched in silence. That's why you see even the BBC website, you see captions all over. Most people are working in call centres or having dinner with their family. They're not. They're just watching videos. 87% of all videos, certainly on Facebook, are watched in silence, and the captions are on by default. So it's really important that you add captions. This is the founder of I think he's a bit older looking now, of Facebook, and he founded it from his dorm. So this is kind of bad news, this sentence for you. He's basically saying there, oh, I'm going to fix Facebook. It's a bit of a mess. We're getting, Federal Trade Commission with a monopoly. I'm going to fix everything. And you're going to see more of the things you love, like cats jumping off wardrobes and cousins and friends. That's what Facebook is all about. It's about friends, not businesses. All these businesses are trying to sell you stuff, and you think, yikes, you're all businesses. This is really bad news for you. So this externally was called EdgeRank, right? And it's very difficult to get around EdgeRank. So hang on, I used to have, if I've got 100 friends on Facebook and I say, who wants to go for a curry tonight? They all see it on the old wall all the time. Like, I've grown up, I've now got a business, I've now got 10,000 followers, fans on my business, and I post, we're doing a special Easter offer, kids go free or something, come to our attraction. Who sees it? 50 people. Where were they all on holiday or asleep? No, they were all online, every one of them, and they only showed it to 50. So what are they doing? They're running a thing called EdgeRank. You absolutely have to understand this because it's now Facebook zero. It's heading to zero natural engagement. Now, what he's saying is press boost. And yeah, that's fine. Another 4,000 people might see it for £4. It's cheap, but you have to measure that. You're pressing that 10 times a day. So one way around it, well, he's saying press boost. That's one way around it. The other is a difficult one and easy for me to sit here and say create remarkable content, create amazing content. And that does help because more people see it and it's still, Facebook groups are kind of immune to this. So if there's a Facebook group called, travel lovers in Scotland or something, or, castles in Scotland and you're a castle, then, and there's 26,000 members. If you post something, 26,000 people who are interested in castles in Scotland will see that. They all see it in their feed. It's not filtered. There's no filtering running there. So groups are certainly currently a way around it. I mentioned measuring stuff. So Insights, Facebook Insights has got metrics, but be careful not just to go for the high level metrics. Drill down. Don't just, oh yeah, there's a million people watched the video. Gosh, I better tell the board. A million people, great. Yeah, who are they? A million people. They might be bots, or are they all from New Zealand and they don't come? Who are these people? So you need to know. So I remember in YouTube, I used to have a YouTube channel and I used to post content and it was about public key cryptography, boring math, and number of views of my video was 1, none, 1, 2, 3, none, 1, none. That was the average number of views. And then once I did something with Barclays Bank, it's a long story, did a video and one of the videos over 3 million views and I thought it was famous and rich. And it's like a high level vanity metric. So I went into the YouTube analytics to see, and there were real people and they were all over the world. So I knew I was going to be rich and famous. Nonsense. It was a half-hour video. How delusional. Remember, human attention span, turn of the century, 12 seconds. It's now 6. This was a 30-minute video of me rabbiting on about mathematics. And I looked at one of the metrics, much more important than, oh, we've got 1 million likes and we've got 1 million shares, all this nonsense. What was it? It's called retention. I didn't really know what that meant at the time, but the curve just dropped off. After 5 seconds of watching my video, 99% of those 3 million people have abandoned to go, hang on a shirt and tie talking about math. Goodness, I'm out of here. And after 10 seconds, there was about 4 people left. Only 2 people got to watch it at the end. And I was one of them, and I didn't watch it. And my mother, I think my mother actually watched it. Maybe she said she did. Nobody actually watched the video to conclusion. So if you're reporting metrics, KPIs, just try not to go for vanity metrics like Google Analytics or number of views. I know things have changed. It used to be, bounce rate and it's now engagement rate, but you need to look at every page and not just an average. There's maybe 100 people in this webinar just now or more. If a 3-month-old baby came on, the average age is probably 12. There's nobody who's 12 in this webinar. They're all like adults, but that's the average age. So averages, just be careful about measuring things, tend to be nonsense. If you get big on Facebook, and this is important, if you start to decide to say, do you know what, we're going to create a Facebook page for our French visitors, because we've got a lot of French visitors, and a local one for the UK. That's fine, because over half our visitors, hopefully next year the French will come back, and so we'll create a French page. And these are called global pages. The problem with just creating different pages is, say you end up with 10 pages, you'll have 10 sets of Facebook analytics, Facebook insights. Imagine logging in and out at 10 pages. Someone might say, what's the total? And you're like, well, give me an hour and I'll tell you. I have to add them all up in my calculator. Whereas if you use global pages, this switch region doesn't appear. It's just automatic. Someone comes from the Middle East and Arabic or French or and more importantly, one set of analytics. So that makes a lot of sense. So if you're going to create lots of Facebook pages, you end up with more than 2. Go with global pages. It just makes life a lot easier. This was in the poll that Andrew did. First thing was this was the second highest number that you went for, and it is the second most popular social media platform in the world, also owned by Mark Zuckerberg. So most people are consuming this platform on tablets. In fact, mobile is essential. You can go www.instagram.com and you can get all sorts of plugins to fake it, make it look real, but it's not. So over 1 billion active users. An active user is somebody who logs on. Essentially, nobody logs out of Facebook, and they love that because they know what you're up to. If we look at Instagram, originally Instagram was just 12, 13, 14, 15. It was teenagers. And if you look, it's pretty much everybody's on Instagram now, all ages. The fastest growing population is this one over here, the 50, 60-year-olds. But no one's really looking at pictures anymore or videos. They look at them and they're nice. They've got a little story and a couple of hashtags. That's fine. It's the stories they're looking at. The stories, unfortunately, only last 24 hours. So you have to save them in highlights at the top. And that was that section there on the previous slide. Whoops. These are stories saved in highlights. The most common mistake I see in travel businesses is amazing stuff, but they haven't bothered doing this. You put everything in here, in competitions, anything. So what goes in the stories? Well, events, contests, competitions, what we're up to behind the scenes. People love all look inside. So, you're just taking people into your brand and letting them know. So Instagram's evolved. It was just pictures, and they added data discovery and videos, of course, pictures and videos you can slam together. And there's now full-blown e-commerce in Facebook as well. This was a hotel that decided to call itself the Instagram Hotel in Australia. And it was a wee bit of a disaster. It was fine, they were on Instagram, but they took it a bit extreme. And what they did was in the bedrooms, coming to this, on the wall was a massive, it looked like a mirror, but it was a huge LCD panel. And of course, you checked in, they know who you were, they checked in here and you've done your homework. Up on the panel came all your feed. It was amazing. It's like, wow, there's all my travel things, all very personal and fun. But apparently a lot of couples stayed, husbands and wives, and a lot of wives were saying to the husband, who's she? Why are you kissing her? Who is she? I've never seen it. And suddenly there was quite a few divorces. So that stopped very quickly. So maybe you shouldn't do that. Instagram Reels is kind of fun. Lots of young people using it, but lots of big brands using it as well. I think I've got a little short video here of Reels. It's very easy to do this. This looks like you need, expensive. You don't. It's just incredibly easy to put all these effects together. You're not hearing any music. There's funky, fun music in there, but very, 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 very easy. Literally just clicks of your finger to create all these effects. And that's why everybody's doing it. These people don't have amazing studios. So everybody's copying Snapchat. Okay, stories came from Snapchat. Reels came from Snapchat. Everything's come from Snapchat. It's kind of, you think Snapchat would sue over all this sort of stuff. And this was an example on Instagram. Murad Osman, who's a Syrian, he lives in Russia. He's a Russian guy, Syrian origin. And him and his girlfriend, you've maybe seen this before, but he said to him, I'm going to take a photo at the back of your head. You're going to be rich. And you're going to put your hand out and lead me on to famous visitor attractions and destinations all over the world. And yep, he is rich. He charges hundreds of thousands of pounds to DMOs to say, I can come to your place. I guess if you're on National Geographic, you've made it. I think this is the final video. Checking out on Instagram is matured as well. So just quickly let you see. This is a slightly old video now that I see it, because the checkout here, again, you can buy physical product, digital product, services. You can integrate it with Shopify and everything. And this, what you're seeing here, someone's ordering something, booking something, checkout on Instagram, placing the order on Instagram, done. We're not shelling out and going to a website as it used to be. It used to send you to a website, so fairly straightforward. Okay, final video, live rooms. Actually, I'll skip the video because it's probably best to see something. This essentially live rooms is just, again, it's a copy of Snapchat. It's just launched on Instagram. It allows you up to 4 people on a chat. So you can have a 4-way chat, you and 3 others. So it's quite impressive. A smaller number of you were on YouTube on the poll, which I was quite surprised because it's owned by Google, and it's the second most searched site in the world. So people who are planning a holiday or a vacation, or if they want to call it, are on YouTube, being inspired on YouTube, looking at YouTube videos of everything you'd humanly imagine. So YouTube channels are free, and We've all got, might not have really expensive cameras, but there's your iPhone and your Androids are very expensive. So amazing statistics about the growth of video. Next year, 90% of all traffic will just be video. And that's not just YouTube. I mean, there's video on TikTok, there's video on Instagram, there's video everywhere. Facebook is the second largest video repository in the world. Facebook want you to upload the videos to them. In fact, it's a bit nasty. It's part of the EdgeRank algorithm. Remember I said create amazing content? One of them is if you put a link into YouTube, say, hi everybody on Facebook, here's an amazing video, check it out, you'll be able to see this when you come. And that's fine, they'll play it, but they'll show it to less people because you're showing it on Facebook. They might leave and go to Facebook. Facebook's a walled garden. They might leave and go to YouTube rather. So they want you to, if you upload the content to Facebook, give them the video, they go, we love you, thank you. We're going to show it to more people because you've given it to us. They're going to show it to more of your followers. It's a bit naughty. But YouTube, I said, second most search site in the world. Everybody goes there for everything. My son's at university now, but he studied in YouTube. He went and learned about stuff in YouTube and followed people in YouTube to learn. That's how they learn. But the impact is more important. It's not just like, it's fun and it's interesting. So this is reach per post. A Facebook is a video. It's like, gosh, double just with a link or an image. Same with Twitter. You go to tweets, nobody's just going, hello, sunny day, I love you. They're adding images, they're adding videos. But if it's a video as opposed to an image or a link, the engagement rate, the reach is much, much higher. So just videos are just so important to do. But before you start, again, have a little plan. What's the goal? Why are we doing this? Is it to entertain people? Is it to educate people? Is it to inform them? Is it to help them? Is it to make them laugh? I don't know. Why are you doing this? What's it for? And it's fine. Once you know it's fun. We're a bit edgy. We're going to be a bit naughty, a bit rude. That's fine. That's your brand. Oh, no, we're really helpful. Telling people when they arrive, we've got accessible thing for older people. We're telling them that's great. That's fine as well. So who's it for? Well, it's for the visitors that are arriving, mainly for the older people, because it's all about accessibility, perhaps. I don't know, but have a plan. What platforms is the video most likely to be watched on? On YouTube, it tends to be the other way around, though, but on YouTube, once you've done it, you can share it elsewhere. You can share that link on Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest. It tends to be TikTok's the one that's making it easy. You'll see TikTok everywhere now. You see it on LinkedIn even. It just makes it so easy to go, that was amazing, that 15-second clip, and it's shared on Facebook and everywhere. And what actions do you want your audience to take at the end? So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And click here to make a booking, or click here to make sure you subscribe to our monthly newsletter. That's the call to action at the end of the video, so it's important. And remember, they might not reach the end. So if you've done a video and it's like me, the idiotic Steve, and it's a 30-minute video and the call to action was at the end, nobody saw it. So click here to subscribe or to our newsletter. No, you might want to put that at the beginning. This is just basic stuff. Keep your video short. Remember the human attention span. Maybe not 6 seconds, but I would have the video way under a minute, like way under a minute. Really, I really would. If it's deep down inside a blog, you can maybe someone's expectation they might spend a few minutes. They're not going to spend 50 minutes watching a video. So if you can afford Spielberg and you've got a 1-hour video, you've wasted a lot of money. No one has the attention span to watch that. So it's under a minute is my take on it. And don't do little SD videos. Make them high res. You've got 4K cameras on your phones. Pick something that's interesting and they title the videos. Setting up your channel. Most people don't set up the channel properly. You put your logo there. Put channel art. Put channel links. So if somebody stumbles across your YouTube channel, on the top right-hand side is channel links. Well, that's their Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Facebook, their website. I can find that from your YouTube channel, and so I should, because once they watch the video, they'll leave, or they'll watch some music video or something. So you can get them to follow. So there's channel art, that's nice. The channel links, the logo, that's the setup of the channel. And have a plan about the content you're going to share, what you're going to share. All the videos have to have calls to action, and there's no point doing a video with a call to action. It doesn't have to be a sales thing. I might just say, see you all next week. We've got another video, or our next video, we're doing adventure tourism, we're going out on the bike. You can annotate your video with cards, and you'll see if you watch a video, a little eye up the top right hand side. You'll click on it. It might show you a playlist, or it might take you to a website, or it might actually do a poll. You can have polls in there like Andrew did at the beginning. Which one would you prefer? The presidential suite. Just ask people questions and they feedback. People love to give you the toughest one. Again, when people see videos by default, YouTube just shows some random. Remember, a video is just an illusion of motion, and it's just a series of pictures that create that illusion. And it's very clever. It fools the brain into thinking it's watching something real. It's just a whole bunch of pictures. So the thumbnail is the first picture. You need to edit it because this looks weird. Edit it to something nice. Choose one from the video, or you can put a custom one at the beginning. Okay, so make sure your thumbnails look nice. Subtitles, I've said they're important. So a whole bunch of videos in the world are watched in silence. People in call centers, people in traveling and buses, they're just watched in silence. And make sure you've got subtitles on. What you should really do, rather than relying on Google to work out what you're saying and work out the subtitles, is actually type in. It's called transcription. Transcribe the text. Say, hello, good morning. You're typing in. Welcome to the, type in those words and Google will read out those words as opposed to sort of half guessing. And you can sometimes get rude stuff in there. So if you're going to do that. I mentioned earlier YouTube Analytics, very, very, very important platform. Tons of reports in there. They're called analytics reports. And that one, I got caught on one, retention. I got all excited with the number of views in the millions. And I was excited. But the vast majority watched it for under 2 seconds. We were probably used to watching cats jumping off wardrobes and thinking, this guy is awful. He's wearing a shirt and tie. I had to wear a shirt. I was rather saddened to hear very low numbers. I can't remember what the figure was. Andrew read it out. It was a very low number, 14% or something, of you are using Pinterest. And I'm going to try sell Pinterest to you here. I tend to have shares in Pinterest. So here's the good news about Pinterest. You're probably thinking, gosh, Steve, we have only so many hours in the day. We're a small visitor attraction. We're a bed and breakfast. We do not have a marketing department. We're not the National Museum. We're tiny. So there's no way. I'm barely coping with Facebook and Twitter. You're saying use Pinterest. I am saying use Pinterest. Lots of reasons just about Pinterest. So apart from Facebook, so just ignore Facebook, it's people spend more time in Pinterest than any other social media platform in the world. So people are spending a lot of time here. And what are they doing? It's beautiful stuff. It's inspirational stuff. It's gorgeous things. And it's people go, I want to decorate a bathroom. I go to Pinterest. I want to go on a holiday. I go to Pinterest to get ideas. I want to build a barbecue. I go to Pinterest for recipes. I can get ideas here about anything. So, but the beauty of it is for you is, here's the wonderful news, hope you don't forget this, is once you've set it up, just leave it. There's no wall or timeline here. There's no posting. There's no there is engagement. You do get likes, comments, shares, you get the repins, but in fact, you get an awful lot of repins. It's phenomenal. It's quite addictive once you get into Pinterest. But once you've set up your boards, right, it's just there. But I've never seen a platform like this before. So the mix of male and female, this is a women's platform. But women travel and women make decisions about travel. And I don't mean independent women that are traveling. At the head of a household, women have got disposable income and they're making decisions. So this is inspirational content. This is, beautiful, gorgeous content, but at all ages. In the US, it's something like 90% women. They've done their persona. Remember, you're going to do persona. That's your homework for tonight. Your persona analysis. Sit in the dark room and close your eyes. They've done it. They know 90% of the users in the US. In the UK, it's quite a bit lower. It's about 65%. Right? But it's every age group. It's mainly female. So it's mainly beautiful, gorgeous, inspirational content. And this is what it looks like. It's boards. You create a board. You give a board a title. You give a description, and you put pictures in it. They call them pins. A pin can be a video, or a pin can be a picture. 2 things. So there's your boards, and a pin is a picture, a post. It's the same thing. You've got followers. You're following. Pinning, they call it. They don't have intervention. My new word. We should tell them about that. Here's a great example. Royal York Britannia. It's beautiful. Britannia at Christmas. I never thought that's a good idea. Well, they sell gin. They've got their own gin, right? And gifts, right? And what's going on. So they're using a good use of Pinterest. And here's a DMO, a very progressive destination marketing organization. Visit Murray Speyside, really punching above the weight. It's a couple of people, and they're really active everywhere, but it looks beautiful. And if I click on this Murray coast, I'll see all the towns Lossiemouth. If I click on that, I will go to their page, right? murrayspeyside.com/Lossiemouth, and I'm able to see accommodation providers, things to do, places to stay. It's really clever. So Pinterest, they've set it up. They don't use it. It's set up. It's done. Finished. Set up. But it's probably their second biggest referrer of traffic. It should be behind Google. So suddenly, second biggest referrer of traffic, I don't have to do anything. This is a no-brainer to set up. An absolute no-brainer. You have to use Pinterest. I love it. I mean, I can't see through it. You can sell things here. People can click on this and they go to your website to book. Say you're an accommodation provider and you've got 10 different types of rooms. You can see them all the different beautiful rooms up there, and then click on them. I can make a book. So it should refer people back. It's very clever. You can have smart pins to see if there's availability, and it's really clever. But basically, you're just putting up a description, a board with a description. Have a description and a title, because there's SEO within Pinterest, if you imagine. So again, the evolution of Pinterest starts off with pictures and images, then they add in video. Pins can be videos now, and then I can't really show you this, but you see this in a mobile. This is just mind blowing. Essentially, if you with your fingers pinching, you can see a picture there of a table and things. And there's that light, beautiful. I want to buy that light. Power search, you pin the light, it shows you other lights like that, and then you click on it and you go to wherever it is, John Lewis, and you buy the light. So you can do. You're not checking out inside Pinterest, but you're going to a website to make a booking. So very, very, very powerful. So hopefully I've convinced you Pinterest exciting. The great news is once you've set it up, leave it. There's another tip as well. If you open up a board, you've got 10 boards and full of pictures or pins, open one of them up. What's your all-time favourite picture from Scotland? That's what the board's called. And it says, please upload your, and it's collaborative curation. People love to give you the tuppence worth. I've got a board on one of mine. I've got loads of Twitter accounts. And one of them is, it's your all-time favourite travel picture. I can't remember the figures, 310,000 people have contributed to that. It's 187,000 pins in one board. The other boards I've got like 20, 10, 5, I don't have time. But they've done it, and that makes the account very, very popular. So you make no money out of that one. There's no backlinks in it. You only have a backlink from an image you put up. Twitter, again, I think about just over 50% of you were using Twitter, which is great. Twitter hasn't really done much to itself over the years. It's been a very, I visited them twice in the first year of business and predicted failure because I thought texting on the internet, what a joke, what nonsense. We've all got SMS. Why would you want to do that on the internet? And the more and more and more and more I've watched with Twitter over the years, I just realised this is a genius platform. There's all sorts of nonsense in this platform. It is difficult for them to manage and monitor it. The fastest growing population is this one, by the way, over 50 on Twitter. But it's apart from teenagers, everybody's on Twitter. One, if you're not using Twitter, because over half of you are not using it, and the reason is you're probably trying to understand all this @ hashes, all weird nomenclature. That once you've understood the 5 or 6 things, remember it's texting on the internet. You tweet, press post, and that's it. You can mention people with the @ like similar to LinkedIn and Facebook, and it's got hashtags which Instagram and everything's got. Retweeting is sharing. I retweet someone else's content. Love this. It's got the go live feature. I'm not sure I would use it because Facebook's the go live place at the moment. So is Instagram, but I'm not sure I would use that. DMing is private-ish. So if somebody says on Twitter, "Oh, I'd love to book up your hotel. What's the rate for a double room?" If you tweet them, he says, "Would you be able to do 50 quid? The price is 100." And you go, "Yeah, okay, we're pretty quiet, no problem." Yeah, everybody can see every tweet. Every tweet's public. People think it's private, and suddenly everybody knows you dropped to £50. So you would go direct. You would DM them. You'd direct message them, and you just say, "Yes, on this occasion, there's no problem, sir. If you want to just click here to book," you send them the link. I mentioned they've not really done much as a company, Twitter here. These 3 things at the end are in the last 2 months. All of these. So there's an investor in Twitter who said to Jack Dorsey, the founder, "You better start innovating. You better start making revenue. I know you do your Twitter ads, promoted tweets, but come on, get your act together." So fleets have appeared. Now, a fleet is just, you can only use this on the mobile, but it's a temporary tweet that vanishes after 24 hours. So it's like the stories all over again. So again, it's Snapchat. Super follow, this is what this looks like. It's quite interesting. So super follow allows you to create premium content. So some of you may have a YouTube channel, and I can click subscribe. What does that mean? Every time you produce a video, I get a wee notification. Oh, the National Museum of Scotland's done a video. Oh, great, I love new videos. I'll watch this one, right? But YouTube also has a join button. What does that mean? It's premium content. That means although I really love what the Scotland Museum, I want.
Stephen, that's you. Drops off again. Well, you seem to be, the audio seems to be struggling a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's it now.
Gosh, I'm so glad you're here, Andrew. Thank you very much. Where did I leave you off? Sorry, where were we?
The sort of just at the super content section.
Okay, So Super Follow allows you to make money from your tweets, have premium content, the same as Join and YouTube, and Twitter will make money from this as well. Audio space is very, very, very new. It's only in beta. Essentially, it just looks like Clubhouse, which is kind of like the hottest app in the world at the moment. Only available on iPhone, unfortunately, on iPads and iPhones, iPhones in fact. But it allows, it's an audio space, so it's kind of like podcasts with rooms. You go in a room and they're recorded. So that's very, very, very new. And again, they've also had, this is just in the last month, nothing's changed in Twitter. The fight to go from 140 to 280 internally was just crazy. Some people are saying go to 10,000 characters, but then you just get spam, people mentioning millions of people. This is, you cannot edit a tweet for obvious reasons, right? So if you tweet something saying, oh, I think Hitler was an evil man, right? That was my tweet, I've tweeted that out, and it's been there for a month, and thousands of people agree. They said, yes, he was a very evil person. And then I change it. I'll just edit the tweet to say, lovely man, just change it now, right? And all these people have said, yeah, I agree, Stevie, very terrible. And so you can't, for that reason, they don't allow you to edit a tweet. Again, a very emotive subject internally. But this is brand new as of last week. I had it, I thought I had it and it gone. I did have it for a short while. It might have been through the VPN tunnel, but it allows you to undo a tweet. Now, it's kind of like the Gmail, when you send a Gmail, there's you can ask for it back, say, whoops, I didn't mean to send that, and it brings it back, sort of. So it's 5 seconds. It basically just, in case you're drunk at night sending a tweet, you shouldn't you're doing social media, but if you were and you tweeted something, you see it going just about to go out and it's gone. And you've got about 5 seconds to undo the tweet. They're talking about charging for TweetDeck at some point. I don't know if anyone uses TweetDeck. It's a very, very, very powerful product. It was a London company that they went bust and they bought it. So if you go to tweetdeck.twitter.com or twitter.com/tweetdeck, you go in, and this allows you to, it says team features, but I mean, you can schedule posts, you can have hundreds of columns set up. This is where you should be winning business. Right now we're in lockdown, it's awful, but if it wasn't lockdown and Easter's coming up, there's 5 tourists from London just arrived at Edinburgh train station and they've just tweeted, our campsite's fully booked, can't believe it. And you go, you've got a campsite. Well, if you had a column, right, and you're monitoring those phrases, that's like a hot lead, it's your business. So very, very, very powerful product. This is an interesting one. I talked about, who your customers, where do they hang out, and how do you engage with them. But what do you say to your customers? Because oddly enough, they're kind of not really interested in you, they're interested in themselves. And when you get that, you do really well in social media. What do you mean? You've got a hat shop, they sell hats, don't care about hats, don't care about you. What do I look like in a hat? And you think, are people so, yeah, they're unbelievably selfish. And when you get that human thing, you do reasonable on social media. This is a guy at a flower company, huge flower company, Arena Flowers, and he used to talk about flowers. And then he realized, saying, he was on a blog saying, my mum follows me, my brother and my neighbour and my son. He said, that's it. I every morning I put a photo of a rose or flowers. No one's interested in flowers. There are times in your life when you're very interested in flowers. Your mum's died, you've fallen in love, it's Valentine's. But every other morning you don't wake up thinking, flowers. You're not interested in them, right? So I'm not suggesting you do this with your business. If you go into Arena Flowers, a great example of a brand that suddenly realised the customers aren't interested in what you do, they're into themselves. He does comedy. It's quite edgy comedy. Never mentions flowers. Never. No one's interested in what he does. And sadly, no one's interested in what you do. So they're interested in themselves. So if you're providing someone with, here's, top 10 tips to enjoy golf in Scotland. He's in this guy giving me all this, top 10 tips to get a booking. It's like, wow, guy's providing content or things to avoid or things. It's just like amazing, but he'll follow you. Here's a girl, Emma, and she's just tweeted, 2014, a few years ago, when in Glasgow, can I get a good Sunday roast lunch help? And she didn't mention any brand here. She thinks she's tweeting to her 10 friends. What people use Twitter like this. There's a lot of people aren't here because of Twitter or they've lost their jobs. Tragic, but everybody can see every tweet unless you say otherwise. Nobody does. So who's listening? Do you beach it? Hey, help! Sunday roast lunch. That was a dinner for 10. So that was a 200 quid by listening for the tweet. Now they were using TweetDeck to listen for that, so they won the business. So people are mentioning things. So can anyone recommend where I can get a good HDMI cable? Well, that's not our world. Why would you be listening for HDMI cables? Unless you think that can somehow lead to something. This is an odd picture. My son's left home, so I don't see this very often. He used to not make his bed. I used to see this a lot. Now, not making the bed is fine, because I remember when I was a teenager, I never made my bed, so that's okay. And this really annoyed me. But it did remind me of this story on Twitter. This is a guy, Adam, he's on Twitter, a bit rude. He said, I've just had a reasonably large book review and there's no toilet roll left in the at Virgin Range 1930 Euston to Glasgow. Please send help. Mike Warrington works in the call centre, right? And he's 5 seconds later, there's MW, it's Mike Warrington, says, which coach are you on, Adam? I'm in J 5 seconds later. He's obviously desperate. Thank you. We'll send someone down right away. If any of you got teenage kids, you can maybe try that one. You're sitting in there and you notice this, you can tweet them. They don't use Twitter. So on Twitter, big travel brands, most big travel brands have many accounts. Most of these accounts are used for customer service as it happens, but there's nothing wrong with having 2 accounts or 3 accounts. This is Twitter customer service, one of the biggest users of Twitter. Nobody phones ScotRail, nobody writes to ScotRail. They just tweet, "Where's my train?" Where they just tweet and they get an answer. So they're using it. Airbnb, we've got your question covered. Contact us here. DMing again, so it's private. You got to be careful in life. You're liable for your actions in life, as I found out once. This guy tweeted something one night on Twitter, and it was an airport. It was quite rude what he said. He said he was drunk, right? So he had too much beer, too much wine. You've got a week and a bit to get your stuff together, or I'm going to blow the airport. His name was Paul Chambers. Somebody at the airport said, "Are we on that Twitter thing? Are we on that Twitter thing?" And I was, "I have no idea. I'm just letting you have a look." And he said, "No, we're not. I've just found a guy 10 minutes ago that says he's going to blow the airport up. You better phone the police." So the police were phoned, went to his house. He was arrested and he was charged. He had a trial and he was found guilty. Now he's not a terrorist, just a silly guy who's drinking too much beer. So I think the thing is, don't drink alcohol when you're on social media. This is interesting. President Obama, when they got Bin Laden, the news breaks. This is how powerful Twitter is on Twitter. This is an amazing photo. I remember this photo as it broke on Twitter, the news in the Hudson. There was a movie made. It's 15th of January 2009, an A320. 10 minutes into takeoff, a bird strike, both engines disabled. He's given permission to land at LaGuardia JFK. And the last words were, "We're going in the Hudson, middle of winter." And that's the picture. News breaks on Twitter. It's a very sad picture. This almost 10 years ago to the day in Christchurch, 22nd of February, it was 2011. A 6.3 in the Richter. There's nearly 200 people dead. The dust hasn't settled. The news breaks on Twitter. Twitter's where you'll win new business. Onto Snapchat. A lot of people think this is a young person's platform, and it is a young person's platform. But remember, the young people, they may not have the money and be customers, but they're influencing, right? So more older people now. So like Instagram, it started as just teenagers, but not everybody's on it. Certainly not old people. But it's huge on travel. If you've never seen it, this is what it looks like. Bizarre. Snapchat's weird. The curated content is amazing. It's beautiful content on Discover. If you want to know how young people are learning, consuming news and learning things, have a look at Snapchat. We've become totally and utterly addicted to devices. All these kids are on Snapchat. This is a big brand, a big travel brand, Virgin, the airlines, and they've created a geo-filter. You could use this for your visitor attraction, your destination, your hotel, your bed and breakfast, your museum, and you create a filter on Snapchat. And it means if people come to you put a fence, a geo fence, within 100 meters or within 20 meters of your destination, this address and this postcode, and they'll be able to use this funky filter. People love to do this. It's like asking people, over to you, what do you think? They love to contribute, so they love to use filters. So it's just a way to get interaction. Now, I've got a little example here. It's a short video of context cards, and it's a kind of fun video, but it just shows you how young people are using Snapchat. And if you notice here, just before I play the video, they're on Snapchat and they're booking an Uber, they're checking the TripAdvisor review, they're booking a menu. What menu? So they book a hotel, a restaurant. I don't know if they use Top Table or Open Table or Res Diary. They don't even know. It just says book restaurant. The reviews, it's all in. So the young people are just living inside Snapchat. They don't need hundreds of apps. So hopefully this works. There's really funky music. You can just imagine young people's funky music here. So there's the TripAdvisor review they're looking at. That looks great. Let's go there. Great, best pancakes ever. They seem to have just magically arrived, but they're ordering an Uber. So they ordered a taxi inside Snapchat. They've got the review inside Snapchat. There's the maps inside Snapchat. You can see where their friends are. They're at a hotel having fun. And they're looking at a menu inside Snapchat. They've got the reservation inside Snapchat. So everything's done inside the one app. Context cards. Now, just to give you an idea, that in China, they have a super app. called WeChat. Not really talking about that today, but Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook and Instagram and Messenger, wants to do the same inside WeChat. He wants to do the same. He wants to basically do everything in one app. So if you imagine going out at night, you need to leave a review, or you need the TripAdvisor app, or you need to get a taxi, you need the Uber app, or you need to stay somewhere, you need the Booking.com app. And how many apps do you need in life? You need about 5,000. You only use 5. It's crazy. So this idea of integration for young folks, one app, Snapchat. The saying here, don't ignore TikTok. It's not during lockdown. TikTok is owned by ByteDance. It was originally Musically, if anyone remembers Musically, and now it's got a different name, Douyin is called that. So it's these 15-second videos, and you can slam 4 of them together into a 1-minute video, but most of them are just the standard 15-second short-form video format. Remember attention span, so that's the way the human brain's been done. But there are lots of crazy teenagers and mad people, and it's not just teenagers. There's big brands there. All the big, huge brands are on there. And even so, YouTube has created YouTube Shorts. I don't know if anyone's using this yet. So YouTube Shorts is an app that you can download. It's essentially TikTok. It's YouTube, which is Google, part of Alphabet. And you can access it by downloading the YouTube Shorts and putting a little video in there. You can also access it, which is quite unusual at the moment. If you go in YouTube, the app, not youtube.com, the app, some of you under the plus, when you upload a video, it'll say create a short like this. This is in YouTube. So as long as your video is less than 1 minute, and as long as it's in vertical format, and preferably with the hashtag shorts in description, although you don't need that, it can end up in YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts is quite new. It's been about for about a month or so. There's masses of content there already because YouTube is the second most search site in the world. So it might be worth, I'm not suggesting you should be on Shorts, but have a look at it. It's lots of young people, loads of travel stuff that's already doing there. I mentioned this, the hottest app of the year, and it is hot. I'm just jealous because I don't have an iPhone. So my wife's got an iPhone, so maybe I'll download it in hers. But I did have a look at it. I've got an iPad, and there's not an iPad version, but you can download it. And it's this sort of audio thing. So it's a very well thought out app. Who knows? It might just be gone in 12 months. Again, it's worth looking at. There's the kind of fear of missing out thing here. You go down a hallway and there's rooms, and in the rooms are, there's the room. It's interesting. It's about learning about Bitcoin. I'm interested in cryptocurrency. Maybe we should be using that in our, And if you don't go in there and listen to it, it's not saved. It's gone. And there's about getting the most out of Facebook ads. Wow, that sounds interesting. But, there's an audience in it, and you can contribute as well. So it's quite an addictive. It's beautifully thought out interface. Whoever thought it out deserves a prize. We talked about monitoring, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow. It's quite important. Some people love you, some people don't love you. Here's Warren Buffett, a famous investor. 20 minutes to build a brand, 5 minutes to destroy it. Gosh. So what does that mean? It means you should be caring and you should be listening. You should be running some sort of social media monitoring tool. Tomorrow there's a webinar, and it's only a 1 hour webinar. We'll talk about much more detail, but things like Google Alerts and and also TweetDeck. And these are the 3 main social media management tools that you use. You also use these for monitoring. So Hootsuite is probably the most popular. I know they don't advertise it very clearly, but you can get it for free if you're only using 3 platforms. If you're using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, using it, well, you'll only be able to control 3 of them at any one time. So it's good for syndication. So I'm going to say, hi everybody, sunny day. Nobody's interested, but I'm going to say that anyway. And it will post it to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. That's the 3 platforms I use. So it's syndicated content, which can save time. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing, the fact you're syndicating identical content to platforms, but time is a big factor. So if that's important, you can use Buffer and Later as well. Later was initially only for Instagram. It's called Latergram. It's called Later. And it allows syndicated content. I spoke earlier about measuring things. So you have a plan, you know what platforms you're going to use. You absolutely have to measure. So we didn't really go into it, but I said Twitter. There's things like Twitonomy, a very powerful platform. And Follower Wonk, an odd name, but it's a great platform. It tells you what your competitors are doing in Twitter. And of course, just Google, oops, it never came up for some reason. Google Analytics is a really basic tool, tells you who came, how long they stayed, where they came from. And you might think, I don't want to know this. These are your customers. You want to know everything about them. What pages did they leave on your website? What did they? Oh, they're all coming from Pinterest. Even maybe I should be using Pinterest. Oh, they're all coming from Facebook, or maybe they're not. I don't know. What's referring you traffic? What countries? Very important. There is a big trend with websites are important things, I think, and I think they're going to be here. You know, we've still got fax machines and telexes, right? The websites will be here for 1,000 years, right? But just a website, it's just hello, we're here. Apps are amazing. You just press a button, but bots are now appearing. So bots do things for you. There's AI built into the bots. I think I've got a little example. It's the last video. So we're on the last video I've got here of a travel bot. Now this travel bot I'm going to show you could be on your website, or it could be just built into Messenger, or you can have them anywhere. This particular one is a person. Believe it or not, it's actually a bot. So hello Desmond, we're your personal travel assistant. He says, I'm in Amsterdam. This bot understands that. Great. How can I help you? Doesn't know what you want. I want a flight to SFO. Okay. One way or two way? He says one way. It's a lady. And she says, give me a moment. It's a bot. It doesn't really need a moment. There you go. It's giving him flights. Decides to go with KLM, option 3, doing a booking. There's the flight times. Which option do you want? Yes, book it for me. On Messenger. There's the boarding pass, pops up with the QR code. That's all you need at the airport. You just paid for it, haven't left. I'm talking to a bot. So bots have moved on a lot, and there's some really, really sophisticated bot technology, not just sort of, you know, the Facebook response assistant. Hello, how are you? There's things like Drift. Have a look at that. Unfortunately, Drift is very expensive, but it's a whole new thing called conversational marketing has appeared, where you can do sales inside bots with bots, not humans. It's 3 in the morning. You're in bed. Someone's come on from the Bay Area to your Facebook page, right? And the messenger pops up, the Facebook response assistant. Hi, are you opening Christmas Day? You're asleep. You're like, of course you're not opening Christmas Day, but the bot says, no, we're not. However, you know, it knows questions, it knows about spelling. It's quite graceful. It understands American spelling as well. So just finally, a couple of takeaways, and we've kind of reiterated them, but no harm in doing it again. What are you trying to achieve? You know, this is so important because I see people in social media, and I've worked with some very big brands and tiny brands. And sometimes the tiny brands get it right, but the big brands are just, they see it's a broadcast mechanism. What's for selling? We're just ramming to people. It's so, you know, social media, the clues in the word social, people are looking for a conversation, right? It's you know, it's they're not going there to, they're going there to be educated. It's social media. So again, what you're trying to achieve, oh, we're using Twitter and we tweet stuff with amazing images and want people to click on the link and make a booking. That's the ultimate aim. That'd be the dream. That's why we use it. Okay, right. So you want, you know, inspirational content, and the platforms hopefully have decided what ones you want to use. Have a look at Social Animal. It's an interesting platform. It's the basic version's free. If you typed in campsite, museum, you know, hotel, it will tell you what platforms people are talking about these things on, and you see what's trending. And you know, on which platform? Oh, it's Pinterest and Facebook, or it's not Pinterest, it's Twitter and TikTok. You have a content plan. I think Andrew mentioned at the very beginning, and I did as well, that in the control panel, and Andrew maybe mentioned at the end, there is a sample content plan. You can download that just now. It's an old Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have Excel, you should still be able to open it with OpenOffice or something. And again, measuring stuff. So Google Analytics is going a business gateway, DigitalBoost, Google Analytics webinar. Version 4 is out. It's quite different. They don't talk about bounce rates, they talk about engagement rates. Very different. And I didn't mention this, but I somewhat mentioned in Janine's SEO webinar, but there's another tool called the Google Search Console. It used to be called the Google Webmaster Tools. It measures things. It tells you where you are for a certain term. You know, hotels in Scotland, where up on page 9. Gosh, no wonder we've no occupancy. Page 9, really? I want to be found for that. So you maybe be blogging about it. So that's a really important tool, the Google Search Console. And again, repeat and rinse, as it were. Just go back to the beginning. So thank you very much. Hopefully that was useful. I'm going to pass you back to Andrew to get involved in Q&A.
Stephen, thank you as always. I'll switch my webcam on and just share my screen. We do thank you everybody for sending in your questions. We have quite a few questions sent in. I'll just some of the questions that folks have sent in. Stephen, if you could come on your webcam just now as well, that'd be great.
Okay. I don't actually see any of the questions. Are you able to read them out to me, or?
Yeah, I will do it. So Somebody's asked a question on timings of social media posts. Now, I think the answer to this would depend upon who you're aiming the posts at, but presumably they're referring to UK customers. Somebody's asked, what time of day, Stephen, is the best to send out a social media blast to reach the greatest number of people? Is it still around 8 p.m. or has that changed after lockdown kicked in?
It's a good question. It's a great question. And you said, you sound like lawyers who goes, oh, it depends. It kind of depends, yeah. I've read so much online, and you can Google this, what time should I put in? You'll find infographics, 11 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. That's it, best time, middle of the day. And that's, it depends who you're trying to, it's East Coast American or Scottish people, and you're trying to get them in a commute, trying to get them at home. I remember Mother Care, they used to post in the middle of the night. It was the what was it called? I can't remember what it's called, but there's women feeding babies in the middle of the night. It's that kind of an odd thing, but so there's no rules. Look at the social media platforms and find what times your customers are online. You're a whiskey distillery in Murray Spain. You're a museum, and I don't know. The followers will be on at different times, not radically different times, but you might find that 6 at night is the maximum, the peak when they're online, and you go, that's probably a good time. But I remember, I don't know if I can actually share my screen and do a demo. No, is it worth doing a little demo?
No, I think we've not got time for that just now.
Okay, it's okay. So on Google Trends, right, I once typed in LinkedIn, and then I typed in the last 30 days, and I saw this curve. It was like this, and it was like 5 days, and then it goes down for 2 days, up for 5 days. So it told me that on LinkedIn, it's event tourism on all these, there's probably less people on at the weekend, and that's true. But the problem is, just because there's less people, that maybe the attention span of these less people is more. See, there's no answer. You have to try and see what works. And you might go, oh, Steve, I did what you said. I went to the Facebook Insights. They're all at 6 o'clock at night. I'm posting at 6 at night, but the engagement's not there. Yeah, well, you might find that, well, you will find that obviously photos and videos and images create much more engagement than just some raw text, obviously. So the time of the day is important. What you do is important. The analytics will tell you when most of them are online. And that's the real thing to look at, the metrics, the analytics, and experiment. And it might be an hour or two here and there, but there's no rules, unfortunately.
Brilliant, thank you. Another question relates to probably quite a number of businesses across more rural areas in Scotland, and that's around the lack of a mobile signal in certain areas, and that obviously stops people from interacting with social media channels that are primarily focused on mobile, such as Instagram. So are there any tools that they can use on desktop platforms that would help them perhaps post or analyze their data on those channels that are predominantly for mobile only?
Is the question, how do they interact with people who don't have a mobile signal yet? No.
No, it's the business themselves struggles to use. There's no mobile signal area in the particular area where they are, so they can't really use a mobile, and they've heard of programs that enable you to use social media but from a desktop and integrate the platforms onto desktop. But
oh, sorry, yeah. See what you mean. Okay, right. Yeah, if you're a little bed and breakfast in some middle of nowhere and there's no mobile phone signal, you want to use Instagram, or I've heard tour guides and they take people up mountains and they go, there's no, when we get up here, there's no signal, so I can't, there's no interaction. So it is a difficult one. Obviously, if you can get a desktop, even if you've no broadband, you can put a satellite dish and get broadband that way, and that's happening and broadband's coming. Things like creating a hashtag and telling people, hey, the hashtag for the trip today is, Tuesday birdwatch or whatever, and save up your images and please post them when we get a signal, when we get down or we get near a signal. Just encouraging people to do that. But it is tricky. Obviously, I mentioned earlier things like Instagram. If you go www.instagram.com and you want to be able to upload images, but you can't, there's no upload button there. I don't have a mobile signal, but I know Instagram's important. Steve told me it's the second most platform in the world. I really need to take part in it, but we don't have a mobile phone signal. And I go to Instagram.com and it looks okay, but it's not a real Instagram. There's little plugins, free plugins you can get called extensions. So on Google Chrome, there's extensions and they fake all the functionality of the app. So, there is a wee upload button. It's a bit clunky, but it works. Okay, it does work, but it's clunky. So there's little Chrome extensions in things like Instagram that allow you to upload images, because natively on a desktop you can't need the phone. It's a bit annoying. Yeah, the phone signal is a big issue.
It is. I've got couple of questions that are related to Facebook and posts on Facebook. Can you explain the difference between people who like a Facebook page, those who follow it, and friends? The person who's asked that question is never very sure who sees what their business posts.
Okay, a friend is a different thing. So a friend is on a profile. So you friend someone as a profile. I friend Andrew, and he unfriends me because he doesn't like me, and he's in control of that totally. So on a profile, which is not for business but personally, you friend people and unfriend people. To create a Facebook page, unfortunately, Facebook force you to get a profile. And you might think, I'm a private person. I don't want all the baby pictures. I'm really private. That's fine. Create your Facebook profile. Never friend anyone. Don't put any baby pictures up. Now create your page. You've got your page. When people go to your page, they like your page. And here's the good news and the bad news. Once they like your page, they will see all of the posts that you make. That was 100 years ago. Now, as we know with EdgeRank, they only see some of the stuff. If they like your page, theoretically, they should be able to see your posts. Okay.
It has to be a business page as well, doesn't it? It has to be a business page.
Yes. And you get in. Now, when they follow a page, like and follow are similar. This is the exact same on LinkedIn. So if they follow a page, it's like a subset of like, I follow Andrew's page. He's got Andrew's Mountaineering, Craig. Whatever it is, his website. But I won't be able to chat to him. So if you like a page, you can interact and chat with them. Liking's the ultimate. Okay, obviously people can block you and things, but you want to get likes on pages. And if it's a personal thing, profile, then people friend you, that's fine as well. So yeah, they're quite different.
Yeah. When businesses post to Facebook, what does the number reached? So the number reached is displayed alongside likes and shares. What do these phrases mean? So I'm presuming that the likes and shares are the number of people that have liked your post or shared your post externally, and then the number reached. Stephen, that sounds like Facebook analytics, and it's the number of people that have actually read your post or seen it or viewed it.
Yeah, I'll go through that. So there's quite a few metrics, and all of these metrics are in quite detail in the Facebook Insights, and they explain it all what it is. So if you went in, it would tell you. So liking, well, you like a page initially, and then once you like the page, you see the mentions, the updates, the post on that page in your feed. That's the idea. But when someone does a mention or a post or an update on Facebook, you can like, comment, share. Yeah, you can do other things. You can say, why am I seeing this? But you like, comment, share. So sharing is just sharing. I'm sharing it with my friends. If you think about when you post something, you want people to engage with it. You want engagement. The ultimate is the weakest one is like. It's cheap. It's so easy to do. No cognitive surplus to like. It's cheap, but it's nice to get. It's cheap. Someone just clicks, I like it. I like the sunset. Someone comments, wow, amazing. Right? Even if they just type lol, wow, they've spent time and energy and thought about something. And Google sees this as a higher interaction, and it shows it to more people. This is the crux of EdgeRank. If you want more people to see your stuff, get more engagement, the ultimate is a share. So it's like, because they thought it was worth sharing with their 5,000 friends. This travel blogger in Oregon, he shared it, he's got 5 million, oh my goodness. So you want people to share it. So how do you get them to share it? Well, we're back to create remarkable content. The reach is how many people it reached, how many eyeballs, how many people saw it. You may not have interacted with it. And then, of course, all of that is organic. That's natural. It's just great. Do all that. You can pay money. You can boost. You can do ads. And it'll tell you that's organic reach, is natural reach. That's how many people eyeballed your post. And 20 people liked it. 15 people shared it. Commented on it, and 2 shared it. You like, comment, shares are kind of obvious, but if it's paid for, it will tell you as well it's been paid for.
Great stuff, Stephen. Thanks. I think we've got time for one further final question. And just before we come to that, I'll just draw your attention on the screen. We've got just now a few more webinars that are taking place over the forthcoming weeks. We've got one, in fact, tomorrow. Stephen, you're back tomorrow, aren't you, for
yes.
Managing reputation and reassuring customers why it's even more important these days. That's from 2 o'clock until 3 o'clock tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, again, starting 2 till 3:30, using analytics with a particular reference, I think, to Google Analytics to evaluate digital platforms and get customers. And that's going to be led by Graham Kerr, who was on the session on Thursday last week about user experience on your website. So that's another 2 sessions to look forward to there. Final question then, Stephen, and as we come to this final question, I'll put up a little link to the feedback for today's session. You can give your feedback at www.businessgatewayfeedback.com with the pin F54E, and then download the slides from today as well. There's a little bit.ly link there as well. You can download those slides. So final question today, it's more a general question around holidays. How many people do you think, Stephen, would book or buy a holiday via Facebook or an Instagram shop? A t-shirt at £30, this person says, I can understand, but a week-long holiday costing perhaps more than £1,000. I'd like to know your thoughts on that. And for me, to begin with, I thought, well, it wouldn't perhaps be a full week-long holiday, but elements of the holiday. So it might be booking a restaurant on one of those channels. It might even be, I think the person who asked the question as well was asking about sending links through to their accommodation booking page. You can do that via your booking system on Facebook and on through Instagram as well. Any thoughts on that, Stephen? On
yeah, I think it's a good question, and I think it's kind of early days, and I think it's evolving, as you said. So I agree. Buying a t-shirt, yeah, I understand that on Facebook, watching the telly, no problem. That's easy. But I remember people saying, well, people will never use mobile to actually buy stuff. They wouldn't use an Amazon app. But most people are buying stuff on mobiles nowadays, which I think is odd. But the concept is they're probably on mobiles. So at the moment on the new Facebook shops, you can buy physical stuff, you can buy digital stuff, and you can buy services. So before the new Facebook shops, you had a call to action button. And as Andrew said, you clicked on that, and you went to your website. That was the sale. It was just a link. And then they would introduce tabs or apps, as some people call them, so you could embed a res diary or you could embed a booking thing inside Facebook. So I'm still inside Facebook. I'm booking a flight, people do it. Booking a hotel, people do it. But it's actually your booking thing inside Facebook. But coming on to answer your question with the Facebook shop, I think it's early days yet. I mean, it only just launched a few months ago, so I don't think people are going to book entire holidays, £10,000 holidays in Europe and planning it all inside a Facebook shop. No, but as Andrew said, bits of it. You might book for the museum. You have to book a ticket. Oh, right, book it here. Great, done. Yeah, but we're not going to book the accommodation there. We're not, it's early days yet. But people will do more and more and more online. So I think it's early days.
Grand. Stephen, thank you very much for answering the questions today, for going through that presentation, some invaluable stuff today. And we look forward to having you back again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon, and I wish you all a pleasant rest of the afternoon. Take care, everyone. Bye now.
Bye. Bye-bye.